I got a bargain with you guys. I told you 6 months ago that I would be back soon to show you the rest of the car. 6 months ago.
But wait! There's more!
Even better, I filmed that 3 months ago, so now it's 9 months.
Look, I'm sorry. We were out of milk. Needed some cigarettes. You know, the rest is history. You know how that goes. I don't have to tell you. But what I can tell you is that we are back with the Scion TC2 Ultimate Daily Driver. And in this episode, we are going to finish out all of the mods and show you the final results of that. So without further hesitation, let's go ahead and dive right into it.
We left you with a short preview of the car after removing old PPF, dried on paint overspray from I'm not sure what, then detailing the interior and exterior, and finishing with a cut and polish. Let's pick up from there and start the mods. I guarantee you'll want to stick around for this one. Alright, we're going to start off with a little visual mod here. Functionally, they're not going to do a whole lot, but I think they should look pretty good once they're on the car, so let's get to work mounting these up. So under the car here, we're going to probably try to attach the side skirts on these individual kind of square areas down the panel so as not to drill too close to the actual body lines of anything. And that's going to be a pretty good area for support as well, and keep that hardware a little bit out of sight. So I think we're going to go ahead and just do that method. So what I'm doing with this blue tape is adding a line that will let me know how far I want this to stick out. And then once it's bolted in place, I'll just remove the tape. How it wants to sit. That is thanks to this rear little mud guard like spat thing. So I'm gonna trim this area, make sure that sits flush. Rest assured, you'll see that work done later. We're going to move on to the fog lights though, and a partner of the channel sent over a few things for us to use. At some point in their life, this lens got cracked, probably a rock thrown up at it, I'm sure. So guys, just want to let you know if I go missing, it's probably because the Chinese mafia is looking for me. And what I mean by that is I was sent these lights probably 2.5 years ago, and I'm finally getting around to making a video on them. So if I disappear, please continue to like and subscribe to the channel continuously in my memory. All jokes aside, these LostFit LED lights are seriously some of the nicest LED kits I've ever seen. They use this braided sheath around the wires. They also have this twist type connector with pins in it. That way they'll never work themselves loose. The whole body is made out of aluminum. And all in all, they're just really high quality and have a great light output. They actually sent me an LED light bar years ago that still works great and I love it. So if you guys need LED lights for anything, consider looking at LostFit for that option. And if I'm disappeared from the face of the earth, well, I think you'll know why. The light output on these look incredible. It almost gives them a greenish yellow hue instead of just a normal yellow that the halogen bulbs would give off. But with that done, I'm stoked to show you something I'm even more excited about.
Oh my God!
No, your eyes do not deceive you. I picked up these awesome Brom racing seats in blue cloth. And I of course love cloth seats. 9 times out of 10 I would rather have cloth over leather. Leather gets really hot and it gets really cold, and it also tends to crack over time. I also just find that cloth is more comfortable and it holds you in place better than leather ever does. To get these installed in the car, I also ordered these really high quality planted brackets. Everything about them from the fit to the finish is incredible, and you'll see that these work flawlessly when mounting these seats in the car. Alright, with that interior mod done, I want to step back in time a little bit and show you something else that I did to the car. Alright, so let us start with the obvious things like the lighting setup here, and then the visors, as well as the oh shit handles, and kind of take it from there. There's some obvious clips here, and then another lighting fixture here. Looks like we're also going to be unlucky enough to have to undo the A, B, and C pillars. So let's go ahead and get cracking in this. This is going to take a little while. So this is going to be a ton of work, but I have a big plan here, so stick with me and you'll see what I'm doing here in a moment. in my relentless pursuit of making this car better in every way possible, you'll see that I pulled down the headliner. What I'm going to be doing here is adding sound deadening as well as a heat barrier in the form of this Dynamat material. It ends up covering both problems, and if you remember, this entire roof is made out of glass, so I'm hoping that we can reduce some of these overhead temps since I live down here in Texas and it gets ridiculously hot. It also doesn't hurt to add more sound deadening. Because I couldn't find a write-up or a video of this, as the Scion TC community is somewhat smaller and there's not a ton of videos for DIY jobs, I actually made a whole how-to video on my channel. So if you're curious about how to pull down the headliner in year 2011 to 2016 TC, go find that video on my channel. It's also worth noting that I did add ceramic tint to the windows and the sunroof. I just don't have a video of that. So with that completed, I'd like to call the sound deadening in this car a wrap. That is, until I remembered I said this. You know, for a sub $20,000 car, I think they really did a great job with it, but I can always use more sound deadening. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to follow my own advice here. Starting with the area directly underneath where the headliner was. Let's go ahead and place slim strips of sound deadening everywhere, huh? Not a single spot left untouched. Well, that is until I rip the dashboard out like a crackhead pulling copper from your attic. that we can put that crackhead energy behind us, it's time to tear into one more thing. This is going to be a fun one, so make sure and stick around.
I don't feel like I did too bad of a job, but I definitely used a really cheap fabric in hindsight, and the glue failed. So maybe I could have done it a little more taut as well too. I don't know. That was like my first ever attempt at doing this. So it's gonna be nice to see this all restored and redone. Actually pull this off. Let's see how it looks. It's not so bad. Thought it was going to be gross from all the adhesive. It's actually in halfway decent shape.
So I think this is a dead giveaway for what I'm going to be doing, but before we do what you interpret that I'm doing, let's do one other step here. If you've noticed in my car or recall from my videos, I have parts of my trim that I flocked myself. Flocking is essentially micro suede powders that are ground up. And what you do is you apply an adhesive layer first, and then you pepper the suede flakes onto it. These are actually faux suede, so they last longer, but it adds kind of a really nice touch. You probably have seen flock dashes in race cars and such, but I think it can look really good if you do it the right way. My 350Z, I did the entire dash, and I still love it to this day. And with that done, here's a short teaser of what I was talking about earlier. Guys, we are back to show off another product sent to us by our friends over at Suzume. We have high praise for their 3/8 digital torque wrench they sent over last time. And with the newest set of tools they sent over, we couldn't be more excited. They've sent in their set of extended reach flexible head ratcheting wrenches, so let's take a closer look at those now. Alright guys, Suzume has sent me another tool. If you guys will remember, I recently tested out their torque wrench that they sent me, and I was pretty impressed with it at this price range. There were a lot of good reviews, and I decided to take a chance on it, and I really actually think this is a quality product, and I've been using it outside of the video that I shot. So with that being said, they reached out to me for another set of products here. So this is their 6-piece long flex head ratchet wrenches. So these have a flexible head on each side, and they're 72 teeth, so pretty good tooth count for ratcheting wrenches. So let's go ahead and open this up and take a look at it. So right off the bat, you've got this nice kind of cloth container or cloth holder here, like a roll-up pouch that you can set the different wrenches into and take that on the go. Folds up really nicely, so that's a pretty cool little touch. Little burby guy. So here's what we all came for. You cut towards yourself, right? Okay, come in towards the soft underbelly. Got it.
Or maybe across the belly, spilling your intestines.
This would actually be nice, like I guess you could throw it in your toolbox with this little organizer here, this little foam organizer that's labeled. I didn't think about that, but that'd be a pretty nice little thing to throw in there. Right. Man, these look pretty nice so far. Woo! Look at that. Chrome vanadium and this black finish. It's got some gold ratcheting heads here. Feels pretty good engagement. All right, well, I'm excited to use these, especially because we'll be engine swapping this Mini. So I'm sure this is really gonna help me with those pain in the ass bolts that BMW put under the hood of this thing.
So I've already taken advantage of these new tools and used them to change some hard to reach pulley bolts on my 350Z. And then later used them to remove top nuts on the rear struts of my TC. I can say with confidence that these work great and are a huge win to have in your tool cabinet. There's also highly positive reviews on Amazon. They're also on sale for Black Friday right now, so check the link in the description for these wrenches. Now that we're officially putting the interior behind us, it's time to focus on something that I've always wanted to do to this car. If you remember in past episodes, I use a throttle tuner to increase the response of the throttle, as these cars really come with a lot of factory delay in the pedal. This is usually done for reasons for economy, but it really makes for a dull driving experience, and the throttle really lacks any kind of sharp response. I can tell you confidently that this ECU tuning is even better than that throttle tuner. It has majorly increased the throttle responsiveness. Additionally, we want to try to maximize the mods that we have on here, which is really just this hot air intake that you see and a TRD exhaust. But still, we want to account for those things and try to squeeze every last horsepower to that. So with these reflashed ECUs, what you'll find is that these can run on 93 octane with a minimum of 91 octane run. So you will need to change your fuel type. Of course, you can still get away with 87 if you're babying it and not pushing it too hard if you have to. I know a lot of states out there don't have the greatest fuel grade sometimes. So I'm going to just do a brief overview of how this is done. If you want a good how-to video, Derrick Acquino has made a fantastic how-to on installing and getting this ECU learned to the car, and I'll link that in the description below. Essentially, you're just jumping 2 terminals on the OBD2 port, and then there's a few steps from there, but it is very simple and straightforward. You'll leave the car in the on position for 32 minutes and let it sit for a while. It's a good idea to throw a battery tender on it, just that way that it doesn't die while you're sitting. With the S&P Reflash ECU installed, that concludes everything I have planned for the car. They say a project car is never done. There may be some truth and or foreshadowing to that. Before we take a look at the finished project, let's jump back in the timeline and acknowledge the base we started from. connections back here. To say I'm thrilled with how the car sits is an understatement. I've done just about every mod I'd like to do on a daily driver. I hope you all enjoyed the process, but that's not where this car's story ends.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
So stay tuned to see how that goes. But for now, if you need me, I'll be busy screaming at my computer playing Arc Raiders.
Over here.
Play the game and you come here fucking shooting at me.
I've never seen so many. You know, it's part of the